Good evening, everybody, and apologies for being late this evening on Friday Night Live, episode 21. Everything decided to just literally crash about 2 minutes before we were going to go live. That's what happens in the world of the internet. The gremlins, they're out to get us. They're out to get us for sure. But we're here and we're okay, and everything's all right. Anyway, so this is episode 21 of Friday Night Live coming to you from Limerick. I'm Dave Morrissey, your host as always, and I've got a great show for you. Great show. We're going to Zoom home and abroad tonight. We're heading all the way over to Oslo-ish, in or around there, and then we're coming back to Dublin for 2 visits, and then we're going to head straight over to Ontario in Canada. So there's a lot going on, and I've got 4 excellent music guests for you lined up on Friday Night Live this evening. So anyway, that aside, you see the PayPal link flying across the bottom of the screen. That is just a little link to support the show. If you want to support the show with any small donation or anything you want, that's the PayPal link there in the bottom. So I'd really appreciate it. Guys, sorry for being late. I do apologize. And I see that Kevin, you're here. So people are coming in and they can see us, and that's the main thing. Anyway, without further ado, we have Kevin Casey from Dublin this evening. Brilliant singer-songwriter, really good. I'm looking forward to chatting to him. Kozak Demars from Dublin as well, who's got everything going on from magazines to TV stations to he's an MC, he's an entrepreneur, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be great crack. And then we're heading over to Canada to talk to Joe Snow of Rejected Gentlemen, the band Rejected Gentlemen. Really cool band, hard rock, good stuff, down right up my street. Anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into it. My first guest is, and I hope my pronunciations here, I'm very worried about, because when it comes to names and places and stuff, especially overseas, I'm always nervous, but I'm going to go for it. I think it's Jonina G. Aradoter. Now, if I'm wrong, she'll tell me anyway, very soon. But first, without further ado, I want to play you her song that we talked about earlier on, but I picked this one and she said it was okay. She said, go ahead, play this one. It's called I Need a Man. Jonina is based just outside Oslo at the minute in Denmark, but she's from Iceland, Icelandic singer-songwriter, and I'm really looking forward to chatting to her. So let's have a listen to this without further ado. This is Jonina G. Aradoter, I Need a Man. Check this out.
A man for me. Ooh, I need a man that talks to me silently. Though we look in his eyes and his hands on my thighs, he just knows how to pleasure me. You keep on talking. Keep on talking, oh please. No. Don't keep on talking. There's no I want you to see. No, I need a man who knows how to love me. It ain't enough to kiss and hug me. I think you are too emotional for me. I took you home for a treat. Ooh, I waited for so long for you to come home with me. With all the sad, you are here with me. Finally, I hope you're ready physically. No. Keep on talking, you keep on talking, oh please. No, don't keep on talking, that's how I want you to see. No, I need a man who knows how to love me. It ain't enough to kiss and hug me. I think you are too emotional for me. No. don't believe that you're still talking for real. No, no, no. And me with just a shield wrapped around me. And my body is getting chills, and my dreams are not fulfilled. Well, there's a door, you just not what I need. No, no. You keep on talking on me. No, you keep on talking, that's all I want you to see. No, I need a man who knows how to love me. It ain't enough, kiss and hug me. I think you are emotional for me. No, no, I think you are too emotional for me. No, no, I think you are too emotional for me. No, no, I think you are too emotional for me.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a tune. What an absolute tune. I have to say that just blows my mind. Blows my mind totally every time I hear it. And I've listened to that a lot this week. And I picked that song today, actually. And yeah, she didn't mind. Jonina didn't mind, which is quite cool. So without further ado, let's go straight to it. Let's go over to Oslo-ish summer. Jonina, how are you?
I am good. Thank you.
Good. I am
Yeah.
so sorry about all of the technical blow-ups that happened this evening. It always, do you know what? It's always when I try to plan these things, it never works. I had to change my mixing desk once this evening, and then I went to log in, and you were there, and you were ready, and then of course decided to tell me that the whole thing was going to crash and everything was going. So thank you, Lord, we're here. That's the main thing. It is great and wonderful to have you. Welcome to Ireland again.
Thank you. Thank you.
You were in Ireland before. You told me you were here twice.
Yes.
What happened? How did you end up on the shores of Ireland? And where did you go?
So I have like Icelandic people. We are spreading, of course, all over the world. And
Yes.
I know Icelandic woman a woman who lives in Hertford.
Yeah.
Very close, close to Galway. And I wanted to go and visit, and also, to when I have an idea and I know somebody in some country, then I just take
Just do it.
I just go, because then it's always good to know somebody, because then they know a place where there is like locals, and you can go. So that's like amazing first time try out, is just to, if you know somebody, just go there, visit them, and then play at the local pub. So I played at I scheduled to play at the Campbell's Tavern, that is in Hertford.
So you came to Dublin. Was it mainly Dublin you were in? Did you travel outside of Dublin? Did you manage to get outside of Dublin?
Yeah, so I went to, that was my main gig, was to play in Hertford at the Campbell's Tavern, and then I find small gigs out from that travel. So I found I wanted to be in Dublin, so I just went online, and also there's Keith McLaughlin. He is really amazing and has been helping me a lot. He has also a radio show.
We know Keith very well.
Yeah?
I know Keith very well. Dublin South FM. Yes, of course. Keith
so he,
listen, let me tell you, Keith McLaughlin is probably one of the finest gentlemen in Ireland you can meet. He has helped everybody. He helped me in the early days when I was promoting the album, and many of my friends, and he still does it. I'm delighted to hear that.
He is just amazing. Yeah.
He is. He's great, and he does stuff online. He's been doing stuff throughout the whole pandemic, his own chat show and stuff as well. He's a great guy. So the connections. You also told me about another connection. One of my guests this evening. You think you might have played on the same stage together.
Yeah, Kevin Casey. So that
Kevin
is
Smith.
so Keith contacted me also. He contacted me, and that's
Yeah,
also like one link to that. So I
yeah,
could. That's why I could find so
yeah,
many gigs. So I was playing like 4 or 5 gigs in Dublin,
yeah,
and yeah, and going like I was just going every evening to a songwriters club or like a songwriters
yeah.
evening. Like there's a circle session,
Circle
circle
sessions.
session, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then the vow signal
yeah,
session,
yeah.
and then the purple session in
Purple sessions in Drogheda.
Slane. That was quite
Or
cool.
Slane, yes, yeah. Did you
And
meet
then yeah,
did you meet Jerry Hodgers up there? Did you meet Jerry?
maybe.
He's the organizer of the Purple
Yeah,
Sessions.
I'm
You
very
have
bad at names, but if I see faces, yeah.
Jolina, you have played at as many gigs as I have in Ireland, and you're all
Yeah,
the way over there. So fair
yeah.
play. I need to get to Oslo and Iceland. I would love to go. I've never been. So maybe we got to keep in touch about all that stuff because I would love to go
Yeah.
over for sure. But now let's cut to the chase because this is really important. We need to talk about you. So I've got my little page here, but don't worry about the page. But the sweeping hills and the black sands of southeast Iceland. Now, this has intrigued me. Why? What is black sand? What's that about? Is that volcanic, or why is it called black sand? Where you were raised?
Yeah, so we have like the beaches, it's black sand. So
Really?
yeah, so that is what I'm raised. So yellow sand is just like amazing for me. But yeah, so we
Yeah.
have black sand, like heavy,
Wow. Yeah.
um,
And
and
is
yeah,
it volcanic, or is that the
yeah.
reason?
So and
Yeah.
also just the rocks around Iceland are all black. So it's I'm
Wow.
not like a national geographic like
I
about
know. I
nature,
know. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's yeah. So it's
That's cool. No, I didn't know that. But you're described as a kind of folk slash country
mm,
your sound. But when I listened to "I Need a Man," that's why we spoke earlier on during our sound check,
mm,
and I asked you, could I play that? And you said, yeah, go for it, do it. And
mm.
you're going to play a lovely song later on for us. But I love that song. There is something gutsy and bluesy and really, really raw about that. Do you think you may have strayed away a little bit when you recorded that song? Because you really went down the blues rock route there.
No, that one came out in that was a blues song that just came
Yeah.
down, and
Ah, yes.
that was my I was in a music school in Los Angeles, and
Yeah.
this was a story that I wanted to write a song about for like a very long time, and then I
Yeah.
was at a singer-songwriters evening, listened to my friend playing her blues song called The Skank, and I was just like, oh my god, I want to write a blues song, and just on
Yeah.
the way home, 20 minutes
Yeah.
bike ride, the
Yeah.
song came and the lyrics, and
Wow.
it was a blues song. So I just came home, wrote down the lyrics, and then I had to learn how to play blues on the guitar because
Wow.
the song came in blues. So I
Beautiful.
yeah, so I say I'm a singer songwriter because a lot of my songs are in a
Yeah.
different little bit energy. But when I do a concert, then it it's a lot like folk country
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Okay.
feelings
Yeah.
to it, yeah, with the
Yeah.
blues rock that's
There is definitely a bluesy rock thing there. But when I listen to most of your music, it has a lovely kind of a sort of indie country vibe to it. But I Need a Man, it just jumps out. I just wow when you've got attitude singing that. I love it. It's really good. It's really cool. And now speaking of the US and all that, before we get to that, because you left Iceland and and initially when you left Iceland, you moved to Denmark. And
yes.
what was the reasoning for Denmark? That was there something musical there, or was there a reason to study? Because I know you're big into your studies.
So I was very bad at school, and I dropped out
Okay.
of school, and
Yeah.
so, and with the thought that I was just stupid because I had so hard time to read, and
Yeah.
it was so hard. So
Yeah.
and then I just like why don't I go to and study something that I know that I'm good at? So I went
Yeah.
to like a it was like a half a year, and I went on a guitar line,
Okay.
and then I loved it so much. So the summer after, I went on and I learned recording technique, recording
Studio.
sound,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
live sound in
Yeah.
studio and also live sing. So just to because I wanted to learn a little bit more behind instead of
Yeah.
just be singing,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that was the reason why I went to Denmark, and it was one of the best experience that I recommend everybody because you got hands on you did everything yourself, so you learned everything, like
Yeah.
how to be respectful around gear, how to be respectful and work with
Mind.
others,
Yeah.
not just be
Yeah.
a solo.
Yeah.
And so I recommend that. So
I
anybody, just send me a line if you have any questions about what I'm saying here. I can
Oh,
tell
cool.
you.
Well,
Yeah.
I've just realized that I've completely and utterly messed up my geographical
Yes.
situation, because earlier on I said Oslo in Denmark. What the
Yeah.
hell was I thinking? That's see, you know what I mean? This is terrible. You can tell I was not good in school either. But obviously, you're in Norway right now. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a minute. But from Denmark, yeah, you studied studio techniques and guitar, and then from there, you moved to Los Angeles, and you went to the Musicians Institute. What is the Musicians Institute in Los Angeles? What is that about?
It is a school. It started as a guitar school many years ago, and then they started to add in everything else. And I searched for many schools there, but then I went to LA just and I looked at this one special because it has had a recording studio also,
Okay.
and that was very like fascinating.
Yeah.
But it was really expensive school, so I regret that I didn't ask around a little bit more, because then I found another school that was 4 times cheaper
Okay. Just as
and
good.
just as good. So also,
Yeah.
if somebody want to ask me, just send me a line and I can help.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Yeah. Well,
um,
I'm going
yeah,
to put the
but
shout out. I'm going to put the shout out to everybody that's watching, because we've got lots of people watching, and
yeah,
to contact you as well, and we'll get to that, how to do that and all that, because
mm,
it's, as I said to you earlier on, if you don't mind me saying, because my geography is so bad, but you're my first Scandinavian guest. Would that be a fair thing to say?
yes,
That's
yeah,
okay. I'm terrible at places and names and stuff, but you'll stay with me anyway. But from there, your EP, 5 song, 5 track EP that you produced, the first EP that was produced in LA, was it?
yeah.
And where did you go to record that?
I thought I would be using the studio in the school, but I was recording it all outside, and
Okay,
I was very lucky that I found a roommate who was a technician and had a studio and everything. So I
okay,
rented a room in his house. So there I
good idea.
recorded most of the things, and
Brilliant.
yeah, and of course I love country music, so that EP has a lot of country feeling to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, cool.
um,
And then you toured California, which was quite
yeah.
cool. And then you went back and did a 7 week tour of kind of the Western US. So you
Yeah,
obviously have a love of that part of the world.
yeah,
It's something that's close to your heart, having lived there. By the way, with your Swedish singer friend Sarah Broman. Broman, is that
yes,
right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah
So
Brightman.
what was the connection there? That was kind of cool that you both took off in a car and decided to drive around the Western US and tour together.
Yeah,
What's she doing now? Are you still in touch?
yeah. So she is the first person I met when I entered the school, the first day of school. Yeah,
Okay.
and that was the beauty of that school, what I take away is all the connection to people from all over the world.
Absolutely.
But yeah, she is writing music, and she lives in Spain now. And
Wow.
yeah, but so it's really nice to know so many people from all over the world, because then you can, wherever you are traveling, you will always find
Yeah.
someone you can connect with. Yeah,
We will. It's true, isn't it? Actually, that is true. I know myself in my travels, having gone pretty much around the world 1.5 times with music, and I remember being in China one time doing a tour, and by the time when I was leaving to get on the plane, I'll never forget it. Flying home, this guy who was unmistakably tall for a Chinese man, very very tall guy, came running up through the airport, and he started calling my name, Dave, 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 and I was like, what the hell is going on here in the middle of Beijing? Who knows me? And I turned around and this guy ran up and he threw his arms around me and he said, "Thank you so much for all the gigs and the tour." And I just thought, wow, that is the power of music, right there, in my opinion. No matter where you go, it's so cool, isn't it? It is so cool. Have you plans to come back to Ireland?
oh yes. So I wanted to, like, after my first time I came, then I came a year after also. And
Yeah,
yeah, so I want to come every year, but of course the COVID has
Yeah,
made
yeah.
a stop to
How
that.
how is that treating? How has that been treating you guys now in Norway? It must is it kind of is it getting better now? Are you kind of coming out of the lockdown scenario?
I mean, it's it's just the
Yeah,
same. It's opening,
yeah,
closing, opening, closing. So,
yeah,
and I mean, I think it's just the same as in every country. So maybe it's closed here now,
yeah,
open at your place, but then it's gonna be open here and closed at your. So it's, I mean, it's just the same. So you just have
yeah.
to look at the positive things that it's, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we're
bringing.
getting back as of September 6th. All of our musicians are allowed to return to stage for the first time in two
Nice.
years, and all that. So it's wonderful, but it could all close again. You
Yeah.
just don't know. It's been a very very tough time, hasn't it, for music? Really really tough. Like,
I mean, it's crazy to think about that. It is it's like that, but you
mm,
appreciate a lot what you
you
have
do.
now, and
Yeah,
now
you do.
hearing live music, you're like, oh, I heard
Yeah.
somebody play. You, it's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's cool. It is cool. Thank God for this medium as well, and to be able to do this is just wonderful as well. So
yeah,
since started doing this, I've met people like yourself from all over the world. It's just wonderful to introduce you to. By the way, way south of Dublin. We're right down in Limerick. I don't know if you're familiar with Limerick, but southwest Ireland. So you're right down in a whole new territory of Ireland. And it's lovely to introduce people into the area here as well, and of course around the country. But it's been a tough time. It really has. This is all we can do right now. I think is just keep plugging away, and hopefully the live scene will stay going. But I have to ask you also, Iceland's best troubadour. Okay, in 2003. I'm
yeah.
curious about this. What does that mean? You were nominated as Iceland's best troubadour.
That's just what it says.
But how do
I,
you how do you get how do you get nominated as that? I mean, how does that happen?
it was the first time that they had this at this Icelandic radio station,
Okay.
and I heard about it and I was like, oh yeah, let's just like, so I like found like this old recorder with the tapes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was a very bad one, just like, eh. And I sent it in, and then I got to the finals, and we were two who got the most votes, so we were two in first place,
Brilliant.
and that was like my first shocking, like to
Yeah.
realize that, oh, okay, there is something more to music than just coming to a
Yeah.
reunion and party and singing together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can do this. I can do this
Yes.
good, and I can do it
Yeah.
well. And of course, your album from 2017, "Remember," is I think everybody needs to go and listen to it. I have listened to most of it because it's on YouTube and various different platforms. Jonina, it is amazing. It's a brilliant album. I love it. I know we're only getting to hear one song tonight, but it's wonderful. Everybody should go listen to it. Where can you download the album or buy the album on a CD?
So if you go to yoninamusic.com, there you can find all the links to where you can buy
Okay,
it, and you can listen to it on Spotify, YouTube, and then also SoundCloud, and then buy it on Bandcamp. Yeah. So there
brilliant.
is like link on
Best,
my
best,
webpage.
best.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm calling you again, Jonina, and it's Yonina. See, there you go. So it's
Yeah.
important. I get. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's and correct me all the time, please. But you online, I've seen you as Yonina Ara, just ARA. So is that the
Yeah.
best way to find you, as Yonina ARA?
Yeah, Jonina Ara. So I started to,
Ara.
because it's
Yeah.
just short and easy. Because if I
Yeah.
say Jonina Ara daughter, then people just start to like, oh. But if I
Yeah.
say just Jonina Ara,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I found loads of your stuff under Yonina Ara, and it's cool. Once I got
Yeah.
into the name, I was
Nice.
like, cool, I can find it. So that is the best place to find your music. Jonina Ara, Yonina Ara. If you
Yeah.
type that into Google, I did, and I found loads of your stuff. So I'm shouting that out to everybody tonight. Just go and find her stuff. She's brilliant. She's super. And the album, Remember, is wonderful. And I mean it. I'm not just saying that. It is wonderful. That is why I got in touch with you to come on, because it's just the music is of a very high standard. Your vocals are amazing, and when you do something, you do it properly and professionally and wonderfully. So I thank you for that. And then we're going to hear a track which I cannot pronounce, also. So I'm completely and utterly out of my depth here.
Come
So
on,
will you?
you can do
Will
it.
you? Okay, you do it first, and then I'll try it.
Kære vinur,
Cara Venus.
Yes.
Did I?
Very close.
Wow, first
Very
time. Okay.
close.
Ah,
Kære
very
Venus,
close.
yeah.
So this is off the album. Remember?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the only Icelandic song
Yes.
on the album, and of course, I want to my next album. I want it to be just Icelandic song.
Wow,
So that
cool.
is in work.
Brilliant. When we finish this evening and stuff, I know you'll keep in touch because I will, and we will. Would you do me a favor? Would you send me some Icelandic phrases so I can actually get into? Because I love the whole buzz. I really do. I love the buzz of the Icelandic language. I think it's so different. And also, by the way, speaking of Scandinavian things that are going on, I don't, you might not be interested in this at all, but ABBA are reforming. I mean, what the hell? That's pretty cool. From your part of the world, like, you know, I know it's Sweden, but still, it's pretty cool. So things are really, you know, maybe I just think it will give a boost to Scandinavia in general, and musically when those guys come back, it's going to put the spotlight on your part of the world again. So maybe, who knows, it could be a wonderful thing for singer-songwriters like yourself. That's the way I look at it anyway. So, you know, hopefully. But listen, keep in touch and send me some of those Icelandic phrases, please.
Yes.
So, without further ado, from the album, remember, this is
Kæri Vinur, and it means dear friend. And
wonderful.
it is about the nature where I'm from, the southeast, the beautiful mountains, the nature, and also about this boy who doesn't see this beautiful nature and me, and we are standing right in front of him.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. Jonina, in your own time, take it away.
Thank you. And thank you for tonight. It's been a pleasure to be here.
You are more than welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Vilt fjallasýn sem bíður mín. Ég næ ekki að sofa að innan ég loða. Ég sakna þín. Ég þarfnast þín. Sál mín vil hafa ást til þín. Kæri vinur, kæri vinur, því stend ég hér ein. Þú sérð mig ein. Kyssir hana á kinn og endar hallaði við. Kæri vinur, kæri vinur, kæri vinur. Lady on my side, do-da-da-day, do-da-da-day. Lady on my side, do-da-da-day,
Oh boy. Jonina. Unbelievable. I don't need to know Icelandic to know that that song was very, very deep, and the melody in itself is unbelievable. Wow. I could listen to you all night long, all night long. It's just wonderful. When somebody is able to transcend the language barrier with music and get the point across without even having to understand the language, that is something else. And I mean that from where I'm sitting. I could see it. I could see you, the boy, the picture that you painted before the song, but I could totally see it. Wonderful, amazing. And I'm so sorry about all my geographical blunders, that I hadn't a clue what I was talking about when it came to geography. You are amazing, amazing. And everybody here in Ireland needs to know that. And a lot of people do now, and that's for sure. I wish you all the best with the future. And I know you've got new stuff hopefully coming maybe next year.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to hear more. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Norway, not Denmark, near Oslo. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It was wonderful having you on Friday Night Live. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I will see you next time over there in Ireland.
When you come to Ireland the next time, you make sure you come to Limerick, okay?
Yes.
We will make sure we will organize that, and you stay in touch with me so we can get you some gigs in Limerick, okay? That's going to happen for sure. So I look forward to that. I really do.
All right. Thank you. For
Okay.
tonight.
You're
care.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Good night. Mind yourself,
right.
Jonina.
Good night.
Bye. Bye. So that was probably that was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. I just, every now and again, somebody just blows my mind with a vocal like that, and Jonina can do it. Jonina Ara. So JONINAARA. Just type that into Google, and you'll find her on YouTube, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, all the usual places. Go get it. That album is called Remember. That's one of the tracks off it. It is just beautiful. And apologies to everybody in Norway for misplacing your capital, and apologies to everybody in Scandinavia for mixing up all of your geographical places, but you know I mean well. And that was wonderful. So moving on, anyway, we've got to move on because everything kind of crashed on me at the start of the show, and I want to keep going and keep going. So we're coming back to Dublin. We're coming back into Ireland to chat to a man called Kevin Casey, a singer-songwriter who's been on the scene a good while around Dublin, but he's been making a lot of inroads in the last couple of years, and even during the pandemic, he has made more inroads, in my opinion. Like a lot of musicians who write music and write lyrics, he's made massive inroads in the last 2 years, in my opinion. We'll talk to him all about that, but before we do that, I want to play one of his singles called Wrinkles. It is just beautiful. Just listen to this, get into the video, and by the time this is over, you'll want to meet him and talk to him, trust me. Here we go.
Little lines upon my face, a heart of satin, hands of lace. Life's been okay, it could be better. I'll be okay, I'm made of leather. You know I don't feel satisfied with the tired look beneath my eyes. Why'd you never let me hold you? A cool moon that I'm shining for you. lazy week and also tired. You get so playful late at night. I wanna rest and close my eyes. You make it hard for me to sleep. You get your way, then I'm underneath. She won't let me turn the lights on. Not at least till you got your clothes on. Our day will come. We're still here. If we have faith, I know we'll find out. When she smiles, my life becomes easier. For I know only a good man can please her. It comes natural to adore you. And all the silly things that you do. Now growing old no longer scares me. You've cleared my faults and you've repaired me. Worked myself down to the bone to give you my love till you know.
Wow, what a tune! What a tune! I love it. Absolutely cool from Kevin Casey, called Wrinkles. Wrinkles. I love the title of it. Actually, I love everything about it. Also, might I say, just before we go to Kevin, yes, Siobhan says they're only here for Kevin, Fiona, and Paula, and Siobhan. They're only here for you. So, Kev, you better impress. You really better impress. How are you this evening, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm good, my friend. I'm good. Well, you know now that you've got an audience, you've definitely the three ladies are here, and for you alone, they want something this evening. So you're going to have to impress. Okay.
Yes, I developed a very loyal support from the ladies.
Sure.
So.
I love it. I love it. Well, look, I'm delighted too, and thanks to them all for coming in. Because it's lovely to meet new people and people coming in to see and support the acts that they love. Listen, long story short, that video I love and that song I love. I know we chatted earlier on. We were trashing out what would we play and what we not play, but the fact that it was kind of filmed in Loud, Cavan, and Monaghan. Why? Not. I suppose not why, but like any particular reason why that you gravitated to that area.
Yeah, the guy who runs the camera company, he actually lives in Dundalk, so he knew of various locations around that kind of area. So I think we were in Ravensdale Forest and stuff like that to get some shots,
Cool.
and then it just we're looking for somewhere that had a nice lake and things like that, and also kind of, as you know, when you're filming, you don't kind of people annoying you, and kids running around the background, so you kind of need to pick areas that are kind of quiet. But they were very early mornings and very cold mornings. I remember that that video shoot quite well.
You can tell that by looking at the video. There's a lot of work put into that, man. That is not. It's not, it's not a fly-by-night jobby. It's lovely. It's wonderful. And all your videos are, in fairness to you. So you're based in Dublin. You've been on the scene a while. You've played Vicar Street, the Olympia, and also the tour in Germany and the UK and the US of it. So you've done a lot of stuff here at home and abroad. Tell us a little bit about your beginnings in the music scene. At what point did you say, right, I'm going to write my own music?
Yeah, like, geez, it was probably around 15, I think, when I started
Yeah,
kind of writing songs. That's not to say they're any use now, but
yeah,
yeah, it was just kind of, I guess, humble beginnings really from 15, and it just kind of progressed. Then my brothers of younger brothers who kind of been in bands with me over the years, and they were learning their kind of instruments at the
yeah,
same time. So um, we just said, look, let's give this band thing a shot and see how it goes.
yeah,
Not expecting it to really last longer than a 24-hour kind of
yeah, yeah.
thing, but thankfully it did.
And is the band it's you and yourself and your brothers? This is the band that you have at the moment still? Is it?
There's another couple of guys there, like a drummer and a keyboard
Yeah,
player that'll play with us, but it's very much it's my name and my band, but my brothers will kind of be the players
brilliant.
for it. They have a couple of their own projects going too.
That's
Um,
cool. That's cool.
yeah,
Brilliant.
so it's a family affair.
Ah, that's great. I love
Yeah,
that. I'll tell you something. I grew up in a household where all of us played instruments, all of us, and I still could close my eyes now and I can remember being like yay high, 12, 13, and the sitting room been full of old gear, the old PA system and all the
yeah,
old stuff.
yeah,
And because our family was musical and just all standing around looking at each other going, what the hell is going on here? It's a brilliant place to be, like, isn't it? It's
yeah. Like it gives so much life to a house. Like growing up in our house, there's always music. There's always a kind of a large CD or record collection for us to get inspired from. But just
yeah,
kind of, you know, you'd always hear someone kind of humming a song or singing in a house.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, or maybe one of the lads would be playing something on the piano, and then it just
brilliant.
kind of all stems
Brilliant.
from there. That it's a sing song all of a sudden, but
Yeah.
it definitely
Are
gives
your
life to it.
are your parents musical? Does it come
No,
down the line, or did you guys? Are you the first? Are you the first of the
we're
musical?
the first, yeah. Like there
Oh,
was nobody before us, so yeah, I know it is kind of strange that how it came about. I know a lot of times people probably get it from their parents or whatever, but no,
yeah.
we did. They love music. They're fans of
But
music, and
that's an equally good valid excuse to get into it. I've met a lot of people where their parents just loved music
yeah,
and had a great vinyl collection or whatever it was in the house, and that's enough to spark the scene and get it going. And kudos to any parent who listens to good music because it's really important.
yeah. It's something that I kind of hope that my kids want to get involved in too. And I'm sure they will.
Yeah, absolutely. It rubs off. I have three little ones here, Kevin, and I can tell you something. I leave a drum kit set up usually all the time, and I have guitars hanging on a wall in each room because I believe if it's visual and they can see it, then just gravitate towards it if they want to. No pressure,
Yeah, a little
and that's
kind of
great.
subtle encouragement.
Yeah. Tell me
Yeah,
this now. I
exactly.
have to ask you. I have to ask you this because I'm thinking like brothers in a house playing music. It's a
Mhm.
bit reminds me a little kind of an Oasis kind of vibe, right? So, are there times on stage when you lads are kind of looking at each other, going, "Do you know what? I really don't want to gig with you tonight, even though you have to go and do the gig."
Oh, I think that was probably 90% of the gigs, to be honest with you. Like we lived and worked together. We were in a van going to a gig and a van coming home from a gig together.
Yeah,
So there was many kind of arguments, to say the least. And
yeah,
at the time when back around kind of, I suppose, from
yeah,
2015 to sorry, not
yeah,
2015, from when I was about 15 or 16, when we
yeah,
got into a band. We weren't the Kevin Casey band. We were an actual group.
yeah,
So that kind of fell apart basically because of all the arguments we were having.
yeah,
It
yeah,
just wasn't worth it in the end. So, but luckily we all kind of matured and grew up, and we could just
yeah.
knock the edge off the
You do, yeah, you
previous
do.
battles. Yeah, of
I love
course.
it. My brother played percussion in my band, in our band or whatever, for a good few years. And at rehearsals, myself and him would go into this complete other zone of arguing, and the rest of the band, we kind of you. I'm sure this has happened to you. You'd be getting into it, and then about 20 minutes in, you kind of stop, and everybody else would have left the room, and it was just me and him. And it was like, oh Jesus, sorry lads, sorry about that. You know what I mean? And they're all outside going, listen, the two of you need to go in, just sort out your differences, and let's get back to
Yeah.
playing the music. Did you ever find yourself getting lost in in a petty argument because of family. You know yourself.
All the time. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
my brothers were great for actually selling equipment that I owned.
Yeah.
You know, you'd see them walking around with a brand new guitar. Oh, that's fucking nice.
Yeah,
Where'd you get
I
that?
know.
Oh, I sold your amps to buy. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I
but
hear
they're
you. I
twins.
hear you. Yeah, yeah.
You know.
They're twins, are they?
Yeah, so I was always outnumbered. You know.
Oh man, that's hard.
Yeah.
So that's like Noel Gallagher versus two Liams. Jesus,
Imagine.
that's not
Imagine
easy.
that.
That's not easy, not easy at all. You signed with Fluttertone in
Yes.
2018. How did that come about? That's a nice little move. That's nice to be. Are you still with them?
Yes, I am. Yeah, it was pretty much accidental. I think I was kind of at the time I would have been doing like a lot of singer songwriter nights around Dublin, and just happened to be in one of the venues that I was gigging in, and because it was very straightforward and very easy, I was like, oh, this can't be. This is an absolute. This is someone taking the piss. But lo and behold, it wasn't, and like it was that easy. I mean, for the 10 years before that, it was breaking me back trying to get any kind of acknowledgement. It didn't work, and then you just happened to be having a pint at a bar, and then it fell into place like that.
Great, it's great.
Yeah.
So just kick things up a notch, I'm sure, distribution wise and audience wise. And of course, you've been known to be kind of hanging out with Aslan and Paddy Casey and doing gigs with them as well, which always helps. The good old support slots. I toured with Aslan for almost 3 years myself, and I did some gigs with Paddy and stuff. And they're two superb acts, and also their fan bases are superb. And I found, especially with Aslan, that their fans, if they like you, you become you're part of the family all of a sudden. Would you agree? They're a super band to tour with, like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned Aslan and the fans, because the three girls that were putting comments in before are diehard Aslan fans, and that's kind of how I ended up on the radar.
I recognize the name or two there, all right. I didn't want to say anything, but it's gas, isn't it? And it's wonderful to get up there, get the leg up, and do some gigs with the lads.
Exactly.
Billy McGuinness is an absolute legend in my eyes. He was on Friday Night Live here during the first couple of weeks of it, and he's an unsung hero on the Irish music scene, in my opinion. So it's great that you kind of. And do you keep in touch? Do you still keep in touch with all the lads?
Yeah, like I haven't spoke to anyone in a while. The last conversation I had with Billy was kind of just before the pandemic started. We were due to do a couple of gigs with them, and like everything else, it just kind of fell apart. Now, as far as I know, that gig is still going ahead when it's deemed fit. So
you didn't waste your time at all, Kev, during the pandemic. Like, you did not waste any time. You just got straight into it and recorded and released. When I went looking at your stuff today, there's probably more material released now during the last year and a half than you've done in a long time. You're really knuckling down. Where are you recording the stuff? Are you doing it at home, or how are you managing?
We go to a studio called Studio 7, which is in Kildare. A friend of ours, Gavin McCormick, he runs it there.
It's all falling into place now.
Yeah.
Studio 7, and Gavin is a very, very good friend of mine. California, as I call him, and very good friend of mine, and a superb producer and engineer.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And Indigo Lights were on here a couple of weeks ago. So
he was actually a drummer in another band that I had a few years back.
Wow.
Jerry Gallagher. Yeah, Gav is actually he does the Absolute Eagles tribute. My brothers are the other players in that band. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know what? I have to say, right, tonight, for the first time, the connections through music is just brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, I just had a lady there from originally from Iceland, Jonina, or Jonina, as I was calling her, who knows you. And I was going, how could you know Kev? And she's like, because I met him in a bar in Dublin.
Yeah.
Isn't it just brilliant?
Yeah, it's most people kind of say, "Oh, I know him because I met him in a bar." It doesn't paint a good picture of
spent a lot of time.
I spent a lot of time in pubs, But yeah, we were on the same bill for a gig. I can't remember what venue it was in, but something to do with Keith McLaughlin. He'd been putting the gig together, and we just so happened to be on the same gig.
Yeah. I think Keith used to do the circle sessions, didn't he? He was kind of involved in that, if I recall.
think so, yeah.
It was probably that she mentioned the circle sessions. But just when I think of it this evening, like Jonina there, who was it was now in Norway, just south of Oslo. You're in Dublin. You're talking about Gavin, Studio 7, and then we're talking about Indigo Lights and Jer and all the different people. And I know all the guys in the Eagles tribute band too, by the way. So it's brilliant, isn't it? It's just, and then I'm thinking Aslan, Paddy Casey, you and I have both gigged with them, which is wonderful. Like the amount of things that we all do that we don't realize until we meet, that we all have in common musically is just amazing.
Yeah, like as big an industry as it is, it's still a very small community,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think it's in some ways it's maybe like a brotherhood, really. Given the storm that we've all kind of been weathering the last 2 years. So.
It's been tough. It has been tough. But you were blessed with a little girl, a daughter, and you wrote a fantastic song, which we were going to do initially this evening. I think it's £7.5 Am I getting that right?
That's right, yeah.
That song, people need to go and check that out on YouTube, the video and the song. It is just superb, Kev. I love it. I really do. And what a tribute. I have 2 little girls myself, and I can tell you something, it's hard to write a song about your child. You hit the nail on the head there, 100%. It's just what a celebration and what a thing to write about it. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Oh yeah, like I mean, it kind of wrote itself, really. You just have to kind of tune into these new emotions you have, and once you get past the initial sleep loss and your brain starts working again. I have a second baby now. She's 7 weeks old, so I've been told to get the finger out and write another one for her. But
second single.
Yeah, but I'm actually just gonna steal a song. We named her Rosalie, so I'm just gonna do a cover of the Lizzie song. It'll just be easier,
You're a big Lizzie fan, and we were chatting earlier on. You were telling me you did you played at 2 of the Vibes,
yes,
which is amazing too. Another thing that we have in common that when we got chatting, and of course to be a part of that family, as in the Vibe family, and Smiley, of course, and and Philomena, Lord rest her, and all that it's a wonderful thing, isn't it, to be a part of that? Like,
yeah, it was. There were great experiences about them gigs, and sometimes like at a point during them, we kind of felt our depth a little bit because we were quite young, and probably dressed slightly different to the usual Lizzie crowd. My hair was a lot shorter than theirs, and stuff like that, and I hadn't got a beard, or whatever the case may have been. But we were, for the best part, we were accepted with open arms. I've met some kind of really, really good people that I still stay in regular contact with, and it was like I guess a pivotal moment in for me personally. Like Philomena brought us out to a house and she let us play Fields bass, and you're sort of saying to yourself, like, fuck, I'm standing in Phil in its bedroom, like it's kind of
it's surreal, isn't it?
Yeah, and that'll give you encouragement, because these people from the screen and from the radio or whatever, but you never actually stand in our bedroom and look through their record collection.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Because even I only played the Vibe once, running back, which is 2010, I think it was the Vibe, and in the Button Factory, it was a wonderful buzz. And ever since that, I've never lost touch with Smiley or Philomena when she was alive. Always managed to keep in touch and stuff. And Smiley was on the show here only about a month and a half ago. He came on as a guest, and we had a great all night and a great chat about all the vibes and all that. But definitely to be a part of that scene, I think it kind of makes you feel kind of, I don't know, it kind of elevated me a bit. I had a great confidence after doing the Vibe. Like, I just wanted to keep going. I felt like I was a part of something. They made me feel very much a part of the family,
just to stand on a stage anywhere really, and to kind of feel the love for music, whether it be your own or in this case it was the music of Thin Lizzy and Phil in it. It was something else, like it was kind of it was very special.
But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I know, because you gave me a couple of bars of something earlier on that you're going to do live for us tonight, which I love. I've not heard this song in a long, long time. And I loved what I heard of you in the sound check was just wow. But before we get to that, where can we get the music, and where's the best place to grab the new music?
Yeah, so you can get all my music online, CDs too, but you can get download the albums and the singles on EPs or whatever from their website, which is kevincaseymusic.com.
Brilliant.
Sorry, kevincaseymusic.ie.
Yeah.
And then on Spotify, iTunes, Shazam, Deezer,
Everywhere.
Amazon.
Everywhere.
It's kind of all over the place.
I found it very, very easy to find everything, Kev, of yours, which is great, and I love that, especially doing the show as well, because when I'm going to try and dig up some stuff and find out stuff, everything was out there, so the music's easy to get. So please, everybody, go and grab it for sure. This is Borderline, which by Thin Lizzy, which I absolutely love. Thank you so much, Kevin, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, because I know you're busy because you got 2 little kids now, and I've got 3, so I know exactly where you're at. But thanks a million for staying up late and doing it. And
No
without
problem.
further ado, Borderline by Thin Lizzy by Kevin Casey. I cannot wait. Go for it in your own time.
Midnight in the big city, at the bar drinking on my own, just thinking about the girl and me. Something's going wrong. Mister, tell me, what's my saving grace? The backroom boys all telling me I'm a borderline case. Back on the borderline one more time. Back on the borderline one more time. 7 beers and still sober. It's time to change to something stronger. I cannot take this scene no longer. She could have told me it's over. Back in my hometown, the old place is still the same, but time can cast a spell over something, and you can't go back again. Back on the borderline one more time. Back on the borderline one more time. Mister, fill me another till I go crazy and turn my mind around. Just pass the bottle one more time and let me slowly drink it down. And JD, can I tell you the shame of my disgrace? It's just love or rejection for this borderline case. Back on the borderline one more time. Back on the borderline one more time. Back on the borderline one more time. Back on the borderline one more time.
Hey, something, brother. That's the reason. One of the reasons that I got into music was that song. Actually, it was one of
It's
the first ever
fantastic
Thin
song.
Lizzy songs I listened to, and you made that your own without a shadow of a doubt. No problem, made it your own. I've heard a lot of people doing songs like that and doing it kind of like a Phil O tribute. Not at all. That's a Kevin Casey cover, but it's your own. That would be super to release.
Yeah, it's a
Just a thought.
special song. You know, it would be
Mm.
a great one.
You do
It
really.
hasn't aged.
Yeah, you do, but you do it really well. You brought it forward. Just a thought. Might be worth thinking about, Kev. Get it
Yeah,
down, get it down, get it out there. I'm sure the Thin Lizzy family would have no problem with you bringing that out. There's something quite cool about it as well because it kind of resonates with where we are right now as well. When you think about it, the whole
yeah,
borderline and all the things that are going on. I don't want to get political or anything like that, but you know what I mean. It'd be a
yeah,
very
absolutely.
relevant song and also quite a personal tune as well. Thank you, thank you so much for coming on this evening. I'm delighted that you got here and everything got to where we needed it to get to. I look forward to hearing more from you, the new songs and all that kind of stuff. If you're ever down in Limerick, give me a shout. There's some great venues down here. We've Dolan's Warehouse and all the other spots around the place. But come down sometime when the pandemic's over and we'll have no jar
Yeah,
outside
absolutely.
Dolan's or somewhere or wherever, and we'll hook up and organize a few gigs or something. Thanks very much.
No, no problem. Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome, Kevin Casey. Take it easy, man.
Cheers. See ya.
So, wow, I'm a big Thin Lizzy fan. I mean, big Thin Lizzy fan. And you either do a Thin Lizzy song really good or not. And Kevin just hit the nail on the head there, 100%. And Borderline, what a tune. You couldn't pick a better tune. Just to let you know as well, because I did I've got the sheets here and I'm doing my best not to look at them too much, but I just wanted to just mention that he has a live EP as well, which is called Live Sessions at the Omnitone, Los Angeles. From 2012, he's re-released it just recently. So it's called Live Sessions at the Omnitone, LA. So go check that out. Kevin Casey, check him out, .ie or Kevin Casey on all the platforms. He's just released that. So go and check that out. And his single, 7 pounds 5 ounces, about the birth of his daughter, is just beautiful. Go and watch that. There's loads of stuff on YouTube to watch as well. He's got a new single, which I forgot to mention there, so apologies, I'm going to mention it now. It's called The Whole World Is Watching. That's the new single, and it's about the death of George Floyd, which is quite, an interesting subject still in the world. So The Whole World Is Watching is the latest single. So go and check that out. Kevin Casey, all over the place, YouTube, everywhere, all over the place. So moving on, we're not too far behind. And again, apologies for earlier on. Complete meltdown earlier on with technology. It happens to me some nights, rarely, but tonight it did. Everything just kind of decided to crash all over the place. But I'm going to move on anyway. My next guest is a man who is an entrepreneur, an MC, a magazine editor, a musician, a TV presenter, radio presenter, all just too much to mention, but very, very cool, very, very cool guy. And I'm sure I bumped into him down through the years in Dublin. I'm pretty sure I have. And when we get talking, we'll bet you will have connections. I know we will. It is, of course, Kozak Demars of Demars Entertainment, mind you, at the minute, which is his new company. But before we get there, he has been getting into music and bringing out his own stuff. And this is his single called Shine Your Light. I love the video and I love the buzz of it. It's really uplifting. So check this out, Kozak Demars, and we'll chat to him in a few moments. Here we go.
Let the ocean take me to new land. As the wind blows gently through my hair, let the river take me out to sea. As the sun shines gently down on me, I thought I had it all, turned out to be a dream. Then you came into my life to shine your light on me. Shine your light. Shine your light. Shine your light. Do it right. Light up the skies for me. Mystic lady, take me to your place. Lady, take me to your place. Show me where I should spend all my days. Spend all my days. I thought I had it all, turned out to be a dream. Then you came into my life to shine your light on me. Shine your light. Shine your light. Shine your light. Do it right. Light up the skies for me. Shine your light on me. I said, shine your light on me. Shine your light. Do it right. Shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. Come on, do it right. Shine your light. Shine your light on me. Shine, 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 shine. 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 Shine, 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 shine,
Yeah, Mr. Kozak Demars, and what a tune! What an absolute tune! I must say, I love it. A banger, as somebody has just described it, which is good. Yeah, I like that. That's probably hits the nail on the head. A banger of a tune. I haven't heard that one in a while, but it's really uplifting, and it's got a summery vibe to it, but it's also got an uplifting vibe, which we need a little bit more of in the world, in my opinion. That kind of thing, and I love it. I recorded one dance single in my entire life. And I thoroughly enjoyed it with that with the dance beat and all that kind of technology going on. I love it. But that was really cool. But anyway, without further ado, the man himself, ladies and gentlemen, Kozak Demars. Good evening, my friend. Hello.
Good evening. How are you keeping, Dave?
I'm good. And thank you so much, by the way, earlier on for giving me a heads up when we were sound checking. There was a couple of bangs and cracks when we were sound checking. And Kozak said to me, listen, there's a couple of things going on there. And I ended up running out, changing all the cables, changing the desk, changing everything. And I'm glad I did, actually, because the brand new desk that I just invested in isn't great. So I've gone back to the old one. So thanks a million, brother. Appreciate that.
No worries. My pleasure. Anytime,
Yeah. Listen, every week I get a little surprise with this show. I swear to God, because I'm at home, and I think doing this from home is really, it's tough technologically. I don't know if you find that yourself, because I know you do stuff at home as well, and broadcast and stuff. You really would miss the space, wouldn't you, of having a few people around to kind of, double check stuff for you, a little bit of a studio space, a couple of people just on the gear that you could just sit back and relax. I prefer that myself.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Your chat becomes your sound engineer.
Yeah, and I find sometimes it can take from a little bit, and I have to try and just stop, take a breath, relax, go, you know what, it's just technology. It's more important to have a chat and find out about people. To me, anyway, that's what it's all about.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's weird how, ironic how technology seems to mess up on us when we need it, at the height of when we need it.
When you're trying to keep real and you're trying to do something like we're doing here and just keep it simple and real, it never seems to agree. But anyway, that aside, Kozak, you have a lot of stuff going on, right? Probably the most I've seen in a guest so far. and we're 21 episodes in now. Entrepreneur, magazine editor, transmission TV, involved in all different sides of the media. Tell me this before. Well, we'll try and start from a good starting point. Your real name? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, my camera went, but I'm still here.
You're still there. I'll see if you can get your camera going anyway at some stage.
Sure.
Real name, if you don't mind saying, David Kozak. Now, I prefer Kozak to Mars, but I like David Kozak too. The name is very, very cool. Tell us about the name, because it's not Irish.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
very cool.
Thanks for asking.
Where does it come from?
Speaking of technical glitches, right? One has to happen for me, right? Do you know, I actually have a backup camera. This is so nerdy of me. I do have a backup camera.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So Kozak to Mars, yeah. So I'll give you the long story medium, right? Because
We've lost them there for a second. Don't worry. So look, I'm not the only one who gets technical glitches and where the sound goes wiry or the camera disappears. It happens. Don't worry about it. And if anybody understands, it's Kozak, because we're in the same kind of line of work in a lot of ways with doing streams and media things and all that kind of stuff. It happens. But we'll get him back there in a second. Don't worry. We'll get him back. I know he's there and I know he's good. And here he is. Quick as a flash. You know what? That's the kind of thing. That's how you know that you've done this before.
This is my backup camera. It looks better than my main camera. What the flip?
It does. You know what? It actually does look better.
I was overdoing it. I was running it through Streamlabs OBS because I wanted to put a second camera to film my missus. My wife is going to play the frog today. Where is it? I don't have it here. We last minute decided that wasn't even in the sound check. And then we have Bren, who's on bass. And I was like, they're so far back on the couch. I was like, I'm going to put them in a little P&P picture at the top right corner. And I overdid it. And this is what happened. So I kept it simple, right? There's going to be no second camera.
You see what I mean? That's what happened.
I know. I have a problem of overcomplicating things last minute,
So do I. Listen, don't worry about it. That's what happened to me. I went off and bought a bloody broadcaster's mixing desk, right? That's supposed to be specifically for broadcasting, and all it does is makes farts and bangs and noises. And I'm thinking, what the hell? So I overdo it too. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, I'll answer your question, right?
Kozak, the name I love. Yeah.
So my name is. So my parents are Polish, right? So they moved here in '89, years and years ago. So my name is David. Originally, because that's how you say David in Polish, right? So for many years as a kid, because I was called David at home, people in schools would say David. That's how because they couldn't say David. It's too soft, like the A and the D, and even I have to change my accent to say it. So people would say David because it's much more kind of Irish. It's at the front of your mouth, whereas Polish is kind of more, I think, in the middle or in the back or something.
Yeah,
so that became very confusing after a while because it was David, and then written down it was David. Sometimes I wouldn't bother correcting teachers, or they think I'd be messing. They'd be like, "What kind of name is David?" So after living with three names, I decided to add a fourth name to the list, which was just much easier for everybody, especially when I'm introducing myself, especially when I'm on stage or when it's written. It sounds the same. It's always the same. Kozak. And then Demars, honestly, I've no idea. Like I like the de part from I think it was from Spanish, meaning from. Yeah. And then Mars, because I have a band, Bowie tribute band called Heroes from Mars, and maybe that's what got the idea in my head. But that's kind of the rough story.
I like it. Well, it's good. It's good. Yeah. And often, of course, like when your name is of Polish descent, like many people, and I've often met Irish people. I know plenty of Irish people that have moved overseas to different countries, and they've made their name somewhat as easy to pronounce as possible. A friend of mine who lives in Wales, actually, my sister-in-law, Niamh, and Nianh, of course, as you know, once you go anywhere else in the world, people are trying to go on Niamh, whatever. So she just went Neve. And it's like, look, there you go. But she loves her actual spelling as well. But you know how it goes. Listen, there's a lot going on with you, and I'm trying to catch up with you every time. And I've seen your stuff online a lot before we've met tonight. Let's just talk about the music for a second, though, because that's important to me anyway. The single that we've just watched and stuff like that, is this a new venture for you, or have you always been dabbling at writing and recording?
Yeah, so with regard to writing, I started back in 2013, I think. Maybe actually,
Mm,
no, do you know, it's been even longer.
yeah,
When I bought myself a Yamaha W7, some kind of 80s
yeah,
workstation. Absolutely still have it. And
yeah.
I just came up with loads of different riffs and things like that. And it was more on a melodic basis. So I didn't
Okay,
really write lyrics too much. It
yeah.
wasn't necessarily my forte.
Grooves
I
and beats and melodies and yeah,
Absolutely, the instrumental stuff and like breaks and bridges and intros and outros and
cool.
stuff. Like I always liked writing those kind of things. Even as a drummer, that was always
Yeah.
fun for me to kind of come up with things like that. So it was only
Snap,
lately.
snap, by the way, because I'm a drummer myself. So
Yeah, you were saying that, yeah.
yeah,
And it was
and
funny because I was like, oh, so am I, and I'm there holding a guitar in my hand for some reason today at the
but we
sound
do,
check.
don't we do that as drummers as well? I find myself actually sitting down even now with the modern stuff and Logic Pro and all, and actually just
Mm.
writing like bridges and breaks and gaps. And as a drummer, because I just love that kind of progression of different parts of a song.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's
yeah,
something
yeah,
about that. It's all
cool.
about as well for me for feeling. So when I'm
Yeah,
writing instrumental, or writing a piece or a transition in a song,
mm,
I definitely go on a more feel by level. So for
yeah,
me to express myself lyrically was always a little bit trickier because I always like the non-tangible feeling of music. That
yeah,
non sort of
yeah,
explainable part of music always interested me, which is ironic because I'm releasing a sort of song that's very sort of basic and just pop kind of
yeah.
EDM thing where a lot of my music actually stems from prog rock, like 60s,
Okay.
70s prog stuff, and like a lot of Hendrix and Zeppelin and anybody
Yeah,
that played Woodstock pretty much.
yeah.
Huge fan of that kind of music, so
Okay,
it's very different to what I'm doing. It's just I can't play that kind of music, so it's like, how
okay.
do I still in encompass a
Yeah,
feeling for people?
yeah.
And I try to do it a different way. So this
Yeah.
this single was just one thing. It was just one thing I
Okay.
wanted to try out.
Yeah.
I am planning to take it further, and it might not be the same style of music at all. It might not be the name. It might be a totally different
Yeah.
project, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely starting to take it by the reins.
Yeah, because
Like
you're
soon.
you're the kind of guy, right? And because I've seen you a lot, I've seen a lot of your stuff online before now, and you talk about 6 degrees and connections and all. And like I saw you on Keith's show, Keith McLaughlin show there a while back as well. But through
Mm,
different things and stuff around the country, I'm sure you and I have bumped into each other at some point. I'm sure we have,
mm,
through the industry and stuff. But you're always ever changing. You're ever changing. You remind me of you're like a chameleon. Because you've got loads going on, but you can change very fast. Was that something that you just kind of developed from a young age? Were you always very adaptable to different scenarios? Not just kind of going, right, I'm going to be a rock singer or a prog singer
mm.
or a pop singer. You're thinking of the next thing all the time. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's because I can't really decide on one thing ever.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
love, and maybe it's because I can't hang on to one thing consistently either. It gets too boring. So it's
Yeah.
just been, yeah, I guess a habit of um just to have that continuous variation in my life,
Yeah.
which I enjoy the most. Actually, I couldn't just sit and commit to one thing. Like my dad is a musician. He actually made it over to Ireland through the National Symphony Orchestra. Like he got
Oh,
the job
cool.
here, which is what brought him over here, brought us all over here.
Wow.
And he is just solely committed to the double bass. Like he practices 3 times a day
Wow.
or whatever, like a lot of
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
do that on any instrument. I can't practice that much on the drums. Like I can barely practice twice a week, and I'm
Okay.
not doing that now. So
Yeah.
I'd have stages where I would, like, let's say
Yeah.
for 3 months, right,
Yeah.
hardcore practice
Yeah.
the drums. But then I'm like, I want to do something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
jump
Yeah.
around.
Move around. Well,
Yeah.
you do, and like it's kicking off in the early days, like emceeing a lot of events, and I remember some of these, by the way, the Crystal Skull sessions. I remember them actually because I was up and down to
Wow.
Dublin a lot, and
Oh, amazing.
the Grand Theft Auto Sounds of Vice City. I do remember.
Yeah.
I definitely popped into one or both of them at some point, and they were kind of like variety shows, weren't they? But with a good twist of music and stuff like that. Was that solely your idea to just get into that, or how did you just kind of decide, right, I'm going to do this? This is something I'm interested in having a go at.
Yeah, before I got into, I was doing gigs in the check-in before. Actually, do you know what? Okay, so it basically started because my originals band, we had a three-piece funk band. We couldn't get
Yeah,
gigs, basically.
right.
Not because we were bad. We actually sounded great.
Yeah,
We were very jammy, funky kind of dudes, but we had no connections.
yeah,
So promoters didn't want to deal with us basically because we had no fan
yeah,
base or anything. So I decided to just take it upon myself to start talking to venues and trying to get us booked gigs. And I ended
yeah,
up just running regular nights because you can only play so much with your own band.
yeah,
And then we started meeting other bands slowly, and we started to we got to know Brew.
yeah.
We got to know so many different musicians. Dave Duggan in the chat there, we got to know pretty early
Yeah,
as
see
well.
Dave there. Yeah, yeah,
Even Keith, we kind of knew a little bit about,
yeah,
and who else? Kevin Casey then came along as well. We got to know Kevin, so many people. And then then I migrated to check in then, and then from there, my friend got a sound engineering job in Chennai,
yeah,
Quito,
yeah,
right? And he was an amazing dude. We work together a lot now. Like we do a lot of corporate gigs and stuff. He's the technical guy of things.
right.
Like so he's
Yeah,
doing the technical work for Transmission TV as well, and the
yeah,
festival that we did and stuff. But he got me in the door basically into the Crystal Skull set. And I don't know, the idea kind of came from there was like an old idea there. It was called the Skeleton Sessions. So it wasn't
right.
entirely from nothing.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I was just like Crystal Skull because I read somewhere about the secrets of the Crystal Skull. It was apparently these skulls existed around the planet, and they were
yeah,
apparently carved by people's hair, like because
yeah,
you can't
yeah,
carve a crystal because it'll crack or
yeah,
whatever. So you have to
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and they apparently
yeah.
did it through the millennium. My mom's watching. Mom, that's the book I found. That was in our bookshelf, and I read that. It's
Yeah,
non-fiction,
cool.
by the way.
Yeah,
You think it's made up, but
okay.
it's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I got like I remember that from reading that as a childhood, and I was like, oh, it'd be great to have a skull up on stage and pick up some like do some really crazy music and just wear a mask and stuff. So it was a spectacle, and I always wanted to make something a spectacle because
yeah,
I just
yeah. I think,
I want
yeah,
to make
it's
stuff
important.
interesting, you know.
Yeah, it is important. But like at that point, I can imagine, that you kind of got bitten by the bug of the promotional side of things and actually networking. Because isn't that it? Isn't that really well, this is where I see you now, because you're one of the finest networkers in the country, not just you're in Dublin, but in the country, because you've reached out all over the place, man. And when I check your stuff out, like down as far as Killarney, the INEC, where you did stuff with Nick Kershaw and Tony Hadley backstage and all that kind of fun stuff, right? So you're reaching out to everybody. I'm sure you met Fiona down there in the INEC and all, and stuff.
Yeah,
She's a friend of mine. She runs the gigs down there.
awesome,
But
awesome.
but you're very, very good at networking, and I think it's a good. Is that kind of your favorite sort of field to be in right now? Do you just try? Do you love that? Like, do you love kind of meeting people and just seeing whatever? Because you help a lot of people. In fairness to you,
Mm.
through the entertainment, Demara's Entertainment and stuff. I looked at the website today, and the list of local bands and people that you're helping, that they're not just because, oh, I think these guys might get a record deal. You're helping them because you like their stuff, which is kind
Yeah.
of cool. In my opinion, it's a very, very cool thing to do. Is that where you're thriving at the minute? Do you love being in that kind of scenario?
Yeah, I do. Like I love connecting with people. I think it's part and parcel is a type of my personality. You know, I feel like I want to connect with artists and musicians, and it's not even just musicians. Like it's beyond that. You know, I've been connecting with
Yeah,
comedians recently,
right.
um, and I just find them to be such interesting and fascinating people. And sometimes they mightn't be too keen on the business side of things. You know,
Mm,
and it's an unfortunate thing. You know that
yeah,
they deserve to be heard, and they might not know how to approach it or how to
yeah,
do it. So
true.
I'm happy to just be there and give back. And especially because obviously the year we had, I mean, that's where it all really stemmed from. I mean, we had the
Yeah,
Crystal Skull sessions. That was great either way because I got to meet loads of musicians. There was like 6 musicians per night. Got to listen
yeah,
to music, great music, and then
mm,
and meet lovely people. That was getting half a couple of pints. It was
yeah,
fantastic. It was a night
very
out with
good.
our mates as well. It was
Yeah,
just everything
yeah, yeah,
encapsulated. And I never like to just like go out for the sake of pints. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It
yeah,
had to
yeah.
have music or something. It had to have something. So the fact
Make
that I
it
was in
something. Yeah,
control, yeah, with that
yeah,
was
yeah,
great. But obviously the pandemic that all kind of stopped. So I still wanted that connection, I suppose. And obviously, you know, I still had connection with people in my household and
yeah,
people outside. But musically, there was none. So how did I do it? Well, we just talk about music. I'd be chatting to them in the bar in Crystal Skull sessions,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's kind of how some of the guys in the community, like Anto there in the chat,
yeah,
um as well used to come a lot to the Crystal Skull sessions. We used to just go out, have cigarettes, and chill in the smoking area, have chats,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what I really missed. So yeah, I love
Yeah,
talking
great.
shite sometimes, you know, as
So-
well. You know? Bit of
Yeah.
that.
You know what? Now I'm going to tell you this because it's funny you should mention that, and I'm a late bloomer. I can tell you that I'm a very late bloomer. You're ahead of me on this curve. I did an accidental show 21 weeks ago because this is 20 plus weeks. This is episode 21, and I did a 1 year on show. Long story short, and invited a couple of my mates to the Facebook Live, which was just Facebook Live at the time because I got bored playing on my own doing Facebook Lives every week. And when I invited them, I thought, Jesus, this is just brilliant. I'm going to do this. And I thought, you know what? I'm actually not going to just do this. I'm going to do a show that helps other people, but also I can meet people and network. So by the time this whole balls of a situation is over, I can go and meet all these people, which I can't wait to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's something very, very cool about that, isn't there? That kind of networking thing that you can look forward to going, well, if I'm in Dublin, I can give Kozak a buzz. If I'm in Cork, I'll give, Aveen a buzz, or if I'm in wherever. Do you know what I mean? It's kept us all going. Tell us a bit about Transmission TV.
Yeah, so I'll because Rebecca's in the chat there. So we started first with Transmission Festival, which was Ireland's first online music festival.
I saw it. Brilliant.
And that was another kind of like did that really quick 6 weeks before, and I just woke up one morning and I rang Keto. I think I talked to Dave maybe as well, and I was just like, I'd love to do an online festival. Does that sound mad? And everyone's just like, yeah, probably 6 weeks. When do you want to do it? Like, oh, 6 weeks or whatever. We did it, 18 acts, 10 hours, completely live, no pre-records, nothing like that. We raised over $2,000. Most of it went to the tech because the equipment was about 10 grand rental fee, not even purchase. It was to rent it was 10 grand. The purchase was more like in the tens of thousands. But we made it. It was great, amazing. Rebecca presented that, and then and then that kind of finished. And then we did the magazine, the Demars magazine after, because I needed to fill that void. Rebecca started off writing. Dave built the website. Dave Duggan in the chat there built the website.
Dave, you know Dave well.
And amazing, just like the guys were totally supportive from the get-go and all the projects. So it's not just me, but then we started to talking with Tsunami Studios, and they were like, oh, we like what you're doing with Demars Live, like, and we knew the guys anyway. We know Adam and Sean well, and they're both musicians as well, and they're both just like they're fucking great musicians.
So Demars Live is every Tuesday at 7 p.m, isn't it?
I've stopped. It's just too much.
Okay, so is Demars Live going to come back, or
I don't know.
You're thinking. Nah. You're thinking.
Boring. Demars Live.
You see this, right? See this?
It's seventh in the list.
You see this sheet? I'm now throwing this away because there's no point. Because I can't keep up with you. I don't know what you're going to do next, but I do love the fact that you do so much. And I have to say, listen, kudos to you, man, because a lot of people don't know this and need to know this. You've helped and are helping a lot of people in the background. And not only doing your own musical stuff, but people that you're behind all the time, and you're pushing people all the time. And I think it's a wonderful thing. We're in similar sort of circles with what we're doing now. And I think it's just cool. It's a lovely, lovely thing to do, to kind of be out there to help other people. So fair play to you, because at some point when this is all over, a lot of people will kind of hook up with you and go, thank you for that. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing that. And it's not even about that, but fair play. Keep doing it, man. Keep going and keep doing what you're doing. Whether it changes every week, it doesn't matter. You're doing good all the time. You are going to do a slower, chilled out version of the single. So this I'm looking forward to. And in the sound check, we got your buddy there to turn the bass up, and we got a lovely balance. I hope he didn't change that dial on the Music Man there.
I hope not either.
Turn it down.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Kozak Demars and friends in the background there. Glenn,
they're not even here.
Where are they?
Oh no, they left me.
Oh my God! Well, you
look,
better
there's
go
the frog on its own. Look how lonely it is.
Have they abandoned the interview?
They're gonna walk in one at a time here. I'm just gonna give
Great.
them an introduction.
Well, listen. Without further ado, we're going to get a chilled out slow of Shine Your Light. So it's Glenn and
so it's Fran, Bren, and Anna.
Fran and Bren and Anna. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. My wife's going to play the frog.
Oh, looking forward to this, and of course we're going to simulate the front row of the Late Late Show.
There's
with this.
Bren.
Hello, Bren. There's a backstage in Kozak's house, which is wonderful, I must say. I need to get me
Yeah.
one of those because if I walk out the door, I'm actually in the garden. So,
There's Anna.
hi Anna,
And
welcome
there's Fran.
everybody, and Fran, of course. Right, guys. When you're ready, without further ado, can you give us a blast of the single, mellow, nice and mellow, and chilled out and acoustic, with a lovely rumbly bass sound there from the music man.
Can I take my headphones off now? Is that okay?
You can take your headphones off if you want. Yeah, work away. In your own time, lads.
All right, guys. Anna, you know what to do. After yourself.
Ready?
Yeah, ready to go.
3, 2, 1.
Let the ocean take me to new lands. As the wind blows gently through my hands. Let the river take me out to sea. As the sun shines gently down on me. Because I thought I had it all, turned out to be a dream. Then you came into my life to shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. Shine your light, do it right. Light up the skies for me. Mystic lady, take me to your place. Show me where I should spend all my days. Because I thought I had it all, turned out to be a dream. Then you came into my life to shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. I said, shine your light on me. Come on, do it right. Shine your light. Shine your light on me. Come on and shine, 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 shine. Come on, shine, 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 shine. Come on, shine, 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 shine. Shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. I said, shine your light on me. Come on, shine your light, do it right. Shine your light on me.
Yes, kudos. Thank you so much, everybody. Well done. Guys, super. I love the frog, by the way. I love the frog.
Frog makes it, doesn't it?
We need, you know what? Dave just said there about it needs more cowbell. I don't think so. I think it just needed frog, and
Just
that
frog
is
needs
it.
more frog.
I've never. Next time I'm in studio, I'm gonna mention the frog and see what people say. Just say, I need more frog on that. See what happens.
Yeah.
Well done,
We need
guys.
to get an electrical frog, one that
An
plugs in.
electrical. Yeah, we need to get some pedals on that frog. A little bit of flanger, distortion, maybe delay. It will be.
Oh,
Well
imagine
done,
some
well done.
flanger on that frog, Jesus.
Flanger on the frog. There's your next project, Kozak. Flanger and the frog.
This is it. This
Done.
is my new project now, I guess. As of like
Well,
an
well
hour
done,
ago when I said, hey guys, just want to just come on and do this.
Well done. Fair play.
Fair
The
play,
bass, by
guys.
the way, the bass guitar was beautiful. And
bass
thanks
was
for leaving it where it was. It was lovely. It made
Nice.
all the difference. It was lovely. Listen, guys,
Cool.
kick back there, crack open a few beers or a vino or whatever it is. Thank you, everybody. Kudos to all of you for joining in. It was brilliant. And we'll see you real soon. And Kozak, when the thing all lifts and we all get back to normal, I'll see you down here in Limerick, or if I'm up in Dublin, we'll get in touch and we'll hook up for an old beer and talk turkey and see what we come up with. You
Sounds
never
great.
know.
Thanks so much for inviting me onto your show, Dave. It's absolutely fantastic.
You're more than welcome.
I'm looking forward to seeing the next guest. The two guests earlier, fantastic. Kevin Casey and Janina, is it?
Yonina, yeah.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thanks so much for putting me up with such a great lineup.
More than welcome. Mind yourself, buddy. Take
God bless,
care.
man. Nice to
Enjoy
chat to
the
you. Bye-bye.
party. Good night, guys. Kozak Damars. If you don't know him, you should get to know him and just Google him. Just Google him and see all the stuff he does. A lot of things, not just a musician, not just a singer, a lot more than that. So check it all out. Damars Entertainment, Transmission TV, Tsunami Studios, the magazine, Damars Magazine. There's loads of stuff going on. Loads of stuff. He helps the industry here in the country a lot. And he's an unsung hero in that fashion, in my opinion. So go check him out. And it's great to see, by the way, I just have to mention Dave Duggan in there and a couple of people from the scene that I know from up there as well. So it's great to see y'all plugging in there as well, lads. And thanks a million for joining me. I'd also like to welcome back Ben, who I haven't seen in a long time on Friday Night Live. Ben, we were talking about brothers in music earlier on. And of course, Ben, my brother, is right here now. So welcome to the show. Welcome back, brother. And enjoy it. Now, I'm going to move on really quickly because we're running a little bit behind. I don't want to keep anybody waiting too long. But thankfully, we're at the final guest. We're going to jet set our way all the way over to Canada, to Ontario, to meet my next guest. And he's really cool, I have to say, and his band. We're going to talk mainly about his band, Rejected Gentlemen. It is, of course, Joe Snow. Now, Joe Snow is in more than one band. He's in a lot of bands, and we'll talk about a few of them. But Rejected Gentlemen is the main band, and there's a kind of a hard rock edge to Rejected Gentlemen that I like, because it's a three-piece that make a lot of good sound, a full sound together. And I like that when people can do that just straight up. So without further ado, this is called The Moment by Rejected Gentlemen in Ontario in Canada. And we're going to talk all about them in a couple of minutes with Joe. Enjoy this, guys. Love this song.
In this moment, now frozen in time, this future that never was etched in my mind. If only we had these moments now to relive again. Erase what now is, need nothing to mend. Fate had settled the score. Betrayed myself, that's for sure. Getting past this moment, reality's chime. Everything is lost now because of the crowd. Those feelings left in the moment are guilty to sin. Because of it alone I will fade. Now and forevermore, fate had settled the score. Not just watch love walk out the door. Moments that bring the question. Swimming in the void, floating in the void. Smile. as mud, clear as mud. Now and forevermore, fate has settled the score. Betrayed myself, that's for sure. Now and forevermore, fate has settled the score. I just want to walk out the door, walk out.
Wow. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. That is, of course, Rejected Gentleman. And the main man himself, Joe Snow, is in the background here with me. And he's going to talk all about that and many, many others. Based in Ontario in Canada. And we just got a cool message in there, by the way, from Brew about Buffalo and the Goo Goo Dolls and all that kind of stuff. I want to talk a little bit about that as well, because I've forgotten about that whole area there. And I was there before, and there's a lot of good music in that kind of area. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Without further ado, Joe Snow.
Hello, brother. How's it going?
I am good, brother. Thank you for joining me all the way from Canada, Ontario in Canada this evening. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the slight delay. I had a complete another meltdown with all the machinery here at the beginning. It's
No worries.
typical, isn't it? You know, you do
Yes.
a sound check and everything goes great, and then my mixing desk decided to start making bangs and noises, and
It
I had,
happens.
I had to run
My
out and get
whole
it.
system has crashed twice on me. I'm on my third go now with a setup.
Oh, wow, it's cool. Listen, that's a cool song. The Moment, I like it.
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
do. I think I'd love to hear more of that kind of music on the radio. In Ireland, I certainly would. In Ireland, music has kind of gone very mainstream, middle of the road kind of pop, which is nothing
Mhm.
wrong with, but all day long, that can be a little bit tedious.
Right. It's
Some good, edgy, hard rock, deep stuff. What's it like over there in Ontario? Is that a popular
absolutely
thing
the
on radio?
same. Absolutely the same. It's gone. Rock and roll of any kind has gone almost by the wayside in mainstream.
Yeah.
And not just rock and roll, almost anything good of any genre. It's all gone away, and it's all down to
Yeah.
just pop, this single line. Everything sounds the same as everything else, and it does get kind of boring. And everybody should have their platform, be able to do what they want, but we shouldn't single just one genre out like we have. But great music
Yeah.
still out there. Obviously, we've seen tonight. I enjoyed everybody. I was
Yeah.
thoroughly
Yeah.
impressed with everybody today.
And I agree with you. Like I do, don't get me wrong. I love all genres of music. Music's good. It's all good. But and I'm not going to lie, man. I'm deep down. I'm a rocker. I like rock music. I was born and bred on rock music, rock and
Mhm.
roll, right through the heavy stuff as well. And when I listen to you guys in Rejected Gentleman, I get that kind of deep, kind of three-piece vibe anyway. It gives me a little bit of a Nirvana kind of rush. A little bit of that kind of, and then also Brew, who's in the chat room, mentioned the Goo Goo Dolls. Now, I
I
wanted to
saw his
talk.
comment. Yeah.
Would they be a big influence on you guys in your area, or would it be much influence?
Actually, the Goo Goo Dolls, I do love them. I didn't realize they're actually from Buffalo. I did know that, but it's something I'd forgotten until he'd mentioned. You know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, they are from there. There's a lot of great bands from that whole border, Windsor,
Isn't there?
Detroit
Isn't there?
area.
Yeah.
The Tea Party is one from our side of the border, Canada,
Yeah,
Windsor.
yeah,
They were very huge down in that whole Detroit area. And
yeah.
there's lots of great bands from all that area. Maybe I'm in the wrong location now. I don't know.
Who
Here
knows?
in
Who knows?
Toronto, yeah.
Well, I was in Toronto many years back. I did a tour over there, gigs and stuff, and we kind of did mainly Toronto, to be honest, and then went back down and we went through Buffalo and down to New York and kind of finished the tour, well, Boston as well, and did the tour all along that kind of belt. But I am a huge Goo Goo Dolls fan. I'll be honest with you, huge. I've seen them a couple of times here when they came. And I stopped in Buffalo. I kind of looked around and tried to get some information on them. Nobody. It was like tumbleweed, man. Nobody knew anything about them. And I thought, oh, this is weird. It's not that big of a town, but nobody seemed to kind of know a whole lot. So I thought, okay, these guys obviously left Buffalo and made it, maybe outside
Right.
of Buffalo. But I know they did go back years later and they did a couple of great concerts in Buffalo. And people, of course, now know who they are. They
An
really know.
interesting thing about them, I don't know how true it is, but I always read and heard that their big song name that they released, that was actually a throwaway song they just put on the album last minute, and that album was going to be their last album. They're going to break up. And then
Okay.
that song they added last minute is what
Yeah.
broke them, and then there you
There
go.
you go.
So you never know. Life is weird and funny. Little decisions
Yeah.
sway,
Yeah.
sway things
Yeah. And
hugely.
music is one of the weirdest worlds to be involved in. Would you agree? It is just when you
Wonderful.
think something's not going to cake or break for you, it will. Earlier on, Kevin, who was on from Dublin, Kevin Casey, he talked about signing with Fluttertone Records in a bar, having a beer, and
Yeah, I
somebody
heard. I
somebody
read.
heard, yeah, somebody heard something. Tell me about Rejected Gentlemen. I know yourself and your brother Bo, am I right? Is it are mainly the
Right.
songwriters in the band, and then
Yeah.
of course you have a wonderful drummer who's all the way from Ecuador, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It's
How did
amazing how
tell us about the band? Tell us about the band first.
it
The
is
formation.
amazing how music brings you together. Like it's all these different
Yeah,
people and cultures, but that's Canada anyway. There's
yeah,
everyone from everywhere here, and it's amazing how I guess music and rock and roll just brings different cultures all together under a one brotherhood. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Well, the band Rejected Gentlemen, it started a few years ago. My brother and I had another band before this. It was a
yeah,
5-piece, and
yeah.
now our dad took sick and was on his deathbed. So
Okay.
we basically left and went back home to Newfoundland for 3-4 months. We were down there, and then of course one by one the members of that band were going off, getting bored, whatever. And I
Yeah,
guess yeah. So by the time it was all said and done, there was no more band. By the time my dad had passed and we had to deal with it, and we were going to come
yeah,
back here to Ontario, right?
yeah.
And on the second to last night that we were down there, my sister wake up in the morning, we're getting breakfast, and she's, oh my, I had a vivid dream. You guys are in a band called Rejected Gentlemen. And I was like, wow, that actually sounds really cool. I like that. And I said to
Wow.
myself, well, I said to my brother, well, we're going back and we're finding new members, and that's what we'll call it. You can't mess with the musical gods when they're trying to send you a message, I figure. So
That's cool. That is very cool. That is very cool.
yeah.
Wow, wow.
And
So
so
you
we
did,
came
and
back
you went,
and
and of course you met your Ecuadorian drummer.
yeah, we
Uh,
posted an ad and he answered it. And
wow.
classic, simple as that sounds, but
You know what? Maybe the kids of today need to realize that sometimes things are that simple, and that's how things happen. I'm
yeah,
always saying that to my son, who loves playing the drums, by the way. He's only 8 years of age. And I'm always saying to him, when you get a bit bigger and you're a teenager and you're going to meet guys and girls and you're going to make bands and join up or whatever, just stick a poster up on a pole, man, or just put an ad. Put an ad out. You know, you don't need to be,
mhm,
technologically superb or on the internet all the time. That's how it works, isn't it? And
yeah.
yeah, so you guys got together and started. Did you have kind of decide, right, we're going to record in the air? Did you decide that in the early stages, or were you just kind of
Yeah.
jamming for a while
Well,
and
we
then
kept a couple of tunes left over from the other band, but we reconfigured them, we tweaked them, whatever, because it
yeah,
went from 5-piece to 3, right? And
okay,
so we kept a few of those. We wrote some more. Then COVID hit, of course. We started
yeah,
playing live, and it was building good momentum, getting some paying gigs, every weekend. And then COVID hits almost by design. Mother Nature, fate can have a real sense of humor.
yeah, yeah, I
So
hear you.
so then we decided, well, let's buckle down on recording and get these songs recorded and done and out finally. So That's where
Yeah.
the EP came from.
Yeah.
Mayhem and the Monster is called.
I love it, by the way. I love it, and I want to ask you about that title because, like, the band name is awesome. How that came about, but Mayhem and the Monster. What is the story with that? Because I love that
Just
title.
dawned on me one night. I think it was after a conversation with my brother and my sister back in Newfoundland. We have a group chat conversation. We were just talking about what we've gone through. Where our dad had died. Shortly after that, a couple years after, our mom had died, so it was part 2 of the whole thing. We had to go back to Newfoundland, do the whole thing, thing again, right?
That's tough.
So,
I'm sorry to hear that, by the way.
Yeah, it was a trial by fire, and it makes you who you are and builds your character, things like that. And so Mayhem and the Monster is basically a playful way to describe the last 5 years of our lives to get to this point, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. That's good enough for me. I like it. So how is it doing now, the EP? How's it doing in your area? Are you finding are you circulating it on radio stations and stuff like that, and it's going good?
I've been in the middle of doing all that. I'm getting on actually a few podcasts as we sit here.
Brilliant.
One thing I did find though, this is our first release. It's my first official release. Now I've been in bands back in Newfoundland in the 90s as a young man and just rock and roll and going about it all wrong, And so after I came here and I had a family, the kids got older, I decided, okay, well, let's try this again. And I'll try this with my brother. I realize much, much more now that it's a small business with invisible walls.
Yes.
And you set up shop and you have to brand yourself. And
a small business.
Here's my product.
A small business with invisible walls. I got to write that down. That is so. You just hit the nail on the head. That's what it is.
Right. So I realized that after I was an old rock and roll guy, now in this new world of online distribution and Spotify and all this Apple and streaming and what is all this stuff? I was kind of old school. You go out and you play, you make a mixtape, you give it around, you make your poster. That's not what people do anymore. So I tried to go through all the waters of this. And one thing I did realize is you have to have your release ready months before you even try to distribute and promote and things, because people are like, oh, it's 3 months old, forget it, we don't even want to cover it, we don't even want to review it. But it's new to you because you might have spent years working on it, and it's like, it's only 3 months old. But that's one thing I did learn in this new world of so it's done okay. I mean, it's not going to make us rich or any money, but as we all know, it won't make us much money. If you're in it for the money these days, like speaking of Spotify, like things like that is killing artists making a fair shake, it seems. So
it is. I agree with you, and I'm going to say it openly here. I don't care. I have no problem being open about it. I detest Spotify with a passion. I'm going to be honest. I have some music on it only out of necessity, not my full album. My debut album has 10 tracks on it. I put 1 track off the album and 1 single on it, and that's it. And even at that, it really disturbed me to have to put stuff up on it. I was advised to do it just to get the stuff out into that realm of, because everybody's using it. But I tell you something,
necessary evil.
I don't like it. It's not doing any good for the musicians, and it's not doing any good for people that are making music. There's better ways. There are better ways to distribute music, and there are.
You look at it. Well, through your own website is the best way. If in the online digital world, have your own website. It's almost like your own store. Try to direct people there, but everybody seems to be, oh, you must go to Spotify, or you must go to these third parties.
Yeah. So how do you have to? How do you outsmart a multimillionaire who sets up a business like Spotify, and how do you outbid that and outsmart that to get people to go to your website? That's the hard part, isn't it?
Exactly. In the old days, you sold CDs, and it was like you made $1.
I think people are getting
And if you sold 1 million CDs, you made $1 million.
Yeah.
Now
I think people are getting clever. I think the musicians are getting clever. We are getting clever. There are ways of doing it, and there's still people out there that like to go to your page or website if you do it in a certain way that you attract them. You know yourself. You have to have an angle. It's a business, as you said, a business with no walls. But listen, you're in Ireland right now. You're in the southwest of Ireland. You're chatting to me, so it's new territory, man. And
it's awesome.
it's cool. Like, it is cool, and a lot of people are gonna, tune in and check out your stuff, which was what I want them to do, because I, watch people's videos and look at stuff, and I select and get back to people to come on the show because if I like what it is, and you guys are good at what you do. Like, have you ever been to Ireland?
I have not, but like I say, I grew up in Newfoundland, and it's Ireland Light is Ireland Junior.
It
It's
is.
little brother, and when I come on these podcasts, I always talk and I always worry, did I speak too quickly with a Newfie accent, or people will understand what the hell I'm saying? But when I realized that this was Ireland, I'm like, awesome, I don't have to worry.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be
Great.
fine. Everybody gets it. Listen, by the way, and I realize we have a connection over there as well, of course, through Pathways, and
Right.
with my dear friends, Grace Shears, Amazing Grace, as I call her, and Wanda Rossiter, and all the guys in Pathways to Better Days, and
Yes.
based in Newfoundland as well. And that we both kind of know all those guys and stuff like that. So it's amazing again tonight, even though you're in Canada and I'm here, we've kind of gotten to know the same people online through just, and I love the group Pathways to Better Days. I love
It is
that
a great
group.
Great premise, a great group. Yeah.
Yeah, and I share all the stuff there. This show tonight will go to the guys, and they proudly put it up all the time and stuff, and we exchange all the time. So it's cool. It's really cool to kind of know some of the same people. Tell me this: what is the plans, or what are the plans for Rejected Gentleman when this hopefully kind of starts to ease off and pass over?
Well, live music has come back here,
Has it?
sort of,
Okay.
not full blown. Not full blown. It has limited capacity, things like that. So it puts a whole new meaning for sold out show nowadays.
Yeah.
You know,
You only need 10 people.
I know they can advertise as sold out. So
That's kind of cool. That's an optimistic way. I like that. Yeah.
So yeah, it has come back, and we're hoping to get going back on with the live gigs now, and we're looking to add an additional guitarist actually for at least live shows.
Good.
It's a little bit of dynamic, and give my brother a bit of a break there.
It's tough. It really is tough, isn't it? Like being the only guitarist in a three-piece, like that's not easy. You're covering a lot of ground there: rhythm, lead, melody, everything.
And we have 8 to 10 new tunes ready to come down the pipe and record an album. We're not sure if we'll do an album or an EP or just release them as singles, because like I was saying, it's a whole new world now. It's not used to. You make an album, you release it, and now you almost release a song and release a song by song, and then call those 8 an album when they're released. I don't know. I'm still navigating the whole new, fangled way.
Yeah, you know what, you hit on something very interesting there, because we were talking about that last week on the show here to some of the guests about the whole, because I had some R&B guests on last week, and they're very much singles orientated. Everything is singles, which is rightly so. That's the business they're in. But I just can't get my head around like rock and roll or a rock band, hard rock band releasing singles constantly. It must be very, even though it's what's happening, it must be tough for you guys to not be, kind of etch the album out and make that the thing, make that what's important.
Yeah, because you used to, sometimes the whole album is a theme mainly. Like Mayhem and a Monster, each song on it is almost a part of the whole journey of the past 5 years to get where we are. Each song has its own place.
Yeah.
So you're getting just a little piece of the pie singles that way. I think, like gone are the days where you buy the record and you pull out the whole record, and just the artwork was an experience too, right?
Yeah.
Which is what I try to do with the artwork on this, but you're looking at something on the internet, you have this little thumbnail.
Miniaturized.
And it's people's 30-second attention span these days, so who knows?
That's it.
Maybe I'm just overcomplicating things.
No. You are saying, you and I, my friend, have a lot in common, and I'm telling you, we have a lot in common. You just said it, short attention span. That's one of the biggest problems going on, in my opinion, because it's the whole Instagram / Facebook / everything. Instagram really is like everything has to be instant, doesn't it? It has to be instant, and people don't want to delve further. But not that they don't want to; they're actually being controlled to not delve further than the surface of something, which is quite worrying, in my opinion.
So you gotta grab somebody like within a few seconds for them to listen another 10 seconds, and then you got to keep their attention. And people don't seem to say, I'm going to try this. I'm going to devote a half an hour and I'll try this. I'll see if I like it. you know.
Yeah, it's true. And a half an hour is a very short space of time in your entire life.
Really.
But nowadays, people, not just the younger people, everybody, we're all guilty of it.
Yep.
We see everything in a couple of seconds, and we're that's where we are, which is a pity, really. I'd like to see. I hope things kind of start to turn around with the pandemic and everything. I think people are starting to see that the real world is actually much more fun, and your family are much more fun if you spend some time with them. Things like that. Even though there's times you could actually, run a million miles from family too, but it is important. Family are important, and just the simple things like. I hope that comes back around. I really do. You've been described as having vocals like Eddie Vedder and Gord Downey. Now they're two good choices, by the way. I'm a huge Eddie Vedder fan, Pearl Jam and all that stuff. But interesting mix, yes, interesting mix. But I do like it. Your style actually could be quite similar, in my opinion, to that kind of Pearl Jam / the kind of the grunge scene. There's a bit of grunge there, even though you're describing as hard rock. You must be influenced by the grunge circuit.
Yeah. Well, I'm 43, so I came up. My musical prime influence is probably 85 to 95. But everything all the way up through from the 60s to maybe 2000. It cuts off there because I don't know. There seem to be a lot of really good. Yeah. People don't sing like they mean it anymore, I find.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult to find the depth in vocals anymore, isn't it? It is. Yeah. But I know people give out to me for saying that, and I've said it on the show here a few times, and people are like, geez, man, give the young people a break. It's not just the young people. I don't mean it that way. But we do have this constant discussion on the show too about the female vocal, especially, right? The young females that are singing right now are really in a place where this kind of copycat / morphing thing is going on in a sort of an R&B / what I find it's almost a kind of a Caribbean sort of accent that they put on when you're actually from Dublin or Ontario or wherever you're from, but they're singing like in this kind of Caribbean / R&B / I don't know what it is. And a friend of mine, a comedian from Ireland here, actually, I interviewed his wife a good while ago on the show, and she said my husband has described it as if they have swallowed a cloud. That's the description, right? And I it never left me. I never forgot it. It is that kind of feeling like they're all singing similarly, and nobody's thinking outside the box.
One of the things I've realized lately, I absolutely agree, and I think part of the problem is one of the things I've realized very recently is that in mainstream music there really is only 3 record labels now. There may be 20, but they're all umbrellaed and owned by just 3. And so the same thing happened with disco. It happened with glam metal. Everybody was designing the costumes for every band. It was just like 3 designers, so everybody looked the same, after so long. And that's what's happening with mainstream music now. Anyway, I keep having to say mainstream because it's not the music, but what's out there on the radio and on TV and whatever else. It's just all produced by the same. It's just this one little vein, and the more things get bought up by just a few people, the less and less diversity you're going to have, right?
Yeah, it's true. So how are we going to get hard rock back in the mainstream, man? What's your plan?
Live shows got to come back for one.
Big
time. People, it's like my son is 17, and I tell him, I was like, you just have to see live shows. Like, you guys that are into all this computer generated music, you don't understand what it is to see an actual band play. Just watch the drummer do his thing. It is mesmerizing.
Physically, yeah, it's cool.
You learn to appreciate it. So I think it has to come back in that way more. The live shows have to come back, and there are labels cropping up now. I've seen the Smashing Pumpkins sign with a small independent label that are focused on bringing rock music back in the forefront and things like that. So I don't really have an answer except just keep doing it and make your own soul happy, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I can't give away any clues, but next week on Friday Night Live, we have a very, very sizable guest from the world of reggae coming on the show, okay? And he messaged me earlier on, last night he messaged me, and a really cool message actually to say that it's not, he said, I'm going to try and quote him as best I can, It's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
Hmm.
That was it. That was the message, and he's very good at doing that. And I actually went to bed last night thinking about that for a good while, and it's so true. It is not at all about the destination. And I say, you know, yeah, with music especially, just enjoy it. Don't be, you know, kind of trying to move mountains. Just keep going. And I say that to you guys as well. Keep going, man, because hard rock is good, and we need it, and we need to keep that alive. And you guys are doing it. Like, you're doing it, and you're doing a good job.
Well, hopefully we can start to be the band out of Toronto, because there is no band out of Toronto anymore. Like there was
Really?
Tragically Hip. There was no
Yeah.
big band out of Toronto anymore.
Yeah.
We had the
Yeah.
Tragically Hip. We had Billy Talent there for a while, and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
seems
yeah.
that my PR guy is actually Eric Alper. He's like he's big time in Canadian music, and we signed with him to do some PR. So I hope it's worth the money. But
Okay, okay.
he tells me that that's what's missing in Toronto is the hometown band. Like nobody has the hometown rock and roll band to get behind anymore. So
Okay.
hopefully
Yeah.
we can try to be that. That's the plan, the goal.
Well, you know what? If
Sing
that
from the
if
heart
that
and play from the heart, and that's it.
if that doesn't pan out, okay, and it doesn't work in the near future, come to Ireland, and you've been on Friday Night Live now, so you know you've got connections. So jump on the
Absolutely.
plane when this is all over, man, whenever, and come to Ireland and get in touch with us here in the southwest, and we'll organize something. We'll get a
I
gig
would
going.
love to come to Ireland. It would feel like home. I
Yeah.
actually took a quiz a while ago. My friend sent me a quiz. Is this Ireland or is this Newfoundland? And I failed it. And I grew up in Newfoundland. And I was like, this has got to be
Yeah.
Newfoundland. No, it's Ireland. This has got to be Ireland. No, it was Newfoundland.
Yeah.
So
There's
it's
a lot of similarities, man. A lot of
it is
similarities.
very much, very much.
Uh,
It's the only place in Canada that St. Patty's Day is a huge, huge thing. It's like it's a holiday as well as
Really?
everything else.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. I can imagine it would be. Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, so anywhere else in Ontario, it comes and goes. It's like, okay, you know.
Yeah,
It took some while to get used to that. And I'm like, it's St. Patty's Day. What's going on? Why are we at work? People were like,
Yeah.
what?
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's amazing the context. Well, listen, say hello to Bo for me as well, your brother and stuff. And at some point, maybe we'll get both of you on again in the future.
Yeah, we'd love to have performed the tune, but it's get all the band together. Yeah, it wasn't.
Well, look,
couldn't
keep
pan
in
out.
touch. Keep in touch. We'll get you all on, and we can organize that and get a good a session on there. A couple, you know, with the full band and the whole lot, drums, bass, everything.
Absolutely.
Meantime, thank you for being patient with me tonight, Joe. And we were running a little bit
No
behind.
worries.
And I was going to say thanks for waiting up, but you didn't really have to wait up because I mean it's only early evening there now.
It's
Thank-
7:20ish.
Yeah, hallelujah for that. At least it wasn't the middle of the night, because that would be awful. But listen, it was wonderful to meet you, man. Wonderful to meet you, and thanks for coming on the show. I wish you all the best with Reject the Gentleman, and
Thank you,
future.
brother.
I hope you are Toronto's hometown band, and not just that, overseas as well. You know, reach out here in Ireland now that you've been here and you've met me and you've met everybody. So you know, keep in touch. Friday Night Live, the page, you know yourself. Send me links and stuff, and we'll put up some videos and keep everything fresh.
Absolutely, it's been a blast being on here, and I thank you for the opportunity.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome. Take care, brother.
All right.
Good night. So that was it, guys, for tonight. Friday Night Live, episode 21. Kicked off, interestingly enough, with another technological blunder, as always happens. Most weeks there's things happen, but tonight I got caught completely off guard when firstly a couple of weeks ago the old mixing desk packed in, and tonight the new one, it didn't pack in, but it started to make all sorts of funny noises. So I had to get that back in the box and bring the old one back out. So I've got the old desk here, and it's working fine, and it's all perfect, and it's kind of much more, to be honest. It's got all the big kind of controls and knobs on it, which I like the analog kind of feel to it. So I'm going to stick with the old desk for another while. But anyway, that said, thank you so much to all my guests tonight. Jonina G. Aradóttir from Iceland, living in Oslo in Norway, by the way. Also online, you will find her as Jonina Ara. So Jonina Ara. Jonina Ara, or Jonina Ara, as we would pronounce the J here in Ireland. Go look for her. She's wonderful. She's got loads of cool stuff online. Really, really nice. And her album, Remember, is just beautiful. So check her out, please. Kevin Casey in Blanchardstown in Dublin. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us tonight. Go check him out as well, guys. KevinCasey.ie. His music is everywhere. It's everywhere. And check out 7 pounds 5 ounces. I recommend it, about the birth of his baby daughter. It is just a superb video and a lovely song. But everything, check it all out. And then, of course, Kozak Demars, who brought us a complete house party from his living room in Dublin, featuring, of course, the frog, which I will not forget for a long time. What an instrument, the frog. That's going to become something, I can tell you, in years to come. I'm sure of it. But thanks to all the guys there as well that played the bass and the guitar as well with him. It was wonderful. Thank you, guys. And finishing off there with Joe Snow from Rejected Gentleman in Ontario in Canada. What a night. Good night. Sorry about the late start, but we got there and everything's worked pretty well, I think, and stuff. And by the way, ABBA are reuniting, guys. I'm just going to leave that there with you, okay? ABBA reuniting. Have reunited, by the way, sorry, and are going to join us on stage from a venue in London as holograms. I'm just going to leave that one with you. I don't know. I'm not sure what to think of that. It's interesting. Would you pay into a gig to watch a hologram or holograms of a band? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I could do that. It's a good idea, but I'm not sure. So I'll leave that with you. But anyway, long story short, next week on Friday Night Live, I cannot reveal yet, but I can say safely that my special guest that I'm having on next week is one of the very, very well respected icons of the reggae world, as in reggae music in the world. And he is going to be joining me next week from where he is in Jamaica. In the middle of the night, he's going to be joining Friday Night Live, and it will be 4 a.m. where he is in Jamaica, and he's gonna do that live to meet us here next week. So please tune in next week. It's going to be really awesome. I cannot believe he's coming on. I'm delighted he's coming on, and I've got so much to talk to him about. I'm not going to say any more about it, but you can get your brains thinking about what that is or who that is, and send your suggestions on an old postcard, virtually, of course, in the chat box or whatever. Anyway, you saw the PayPal link across the bottom of the screen. I don't go on about it. I'm not going to go on about it, but it is there. If you would like to support the show in any way, shape, or form, as you've heard me say tonight a couple of times, and you've seen it in the flesh, equipment breaks down, lights have to go up, backdrop, different things that we do, and it changes around every couple of weeks or months. So small donations or any kind of donation from people who are watching is much appreciated, guys, because it all goes into the coppers. And when something breaks down, it's lovely to just have just a small few quid there to kind of get the gear fixed. Okay, that's it. That's the only reason. It's to support the show. So if you can, the PayPal link is there in the bottom of the screen. If you don't want to do that, you don't want to donate, or you're not interested in doing things like that, you can buy the album, which is my album here, Bring Out the Light. It's got 10 tracks on it, and you can buy that through the PayPal link as well. Okay. The Friday Night Live t-shirts, I know I said they'd be back this week. They will be back. They're in the making. We're just waiting. Because of the pandemic, everything has gone nuts. We're actually waiting on the actual t-shirts to come back into stock, as in just the t-shirts. Like, that'll tell you how tight things have become. And I'm not moving to another distributor. I'm sticking with my friends here in Limerick. Takeaway t-shirts in the Parkway here in Limerick. And I'm going to wait for that. And we're going to do it through the guys, because they've been wonderful all along in making the t-shirts and the hats and everything for the show last year. So I'm waiting. So we should have them next week. So please stay tuned for that. That's it, really. Friday Night Live for another week, episode 21, done and dusted. And thank you so much for joining me, lads. I love doing this, by the way. I do it because I love doing it, and that's the only reason. And I hope you guys love it too. That's the main thing, that you're enjoying it. I hope you all enjoyed yourself tonight. I'm going to leave you with a shameless plug, because that's what we do. That's what I'm going to do. It's only right that I should have a little bit of a shameless plug at the end of each show. And this is something that I found I'd forgotten that I did, actually. And we were talking about earlier on about touring around the world and different things. When I was in China, I did a tour there for a couple of months, acoustically, just myself and herself. Two of us went, and I played in various different places acoustically all over Beijing, down into Yantai, where I was based, and then up into Dalian, and a couple of different cities. And so all the north, basically northeast of China. It was a wonderful experience. And we recorded Mother Nature Says there, the video, the official video. But while I was there, We shot this video live of Joey Had to Fly. So if you know me, you'll know the single Joey Had to Fly. If you don't know me, this is a single of mine called Joey Had to Fly. And this was done live in Yantai, in the Druids Bar in Yantai, where we were kind of based and doing most of the gigs before we kind of fanned out up along the coast. So without further ado, here we are. This is a nice, really chilled out vibe of Joey Had to Fly from China, no less. See you all next week at the same time, 10 p.m. With a very, very cool guest coming in live at 10 p.m. from Jamaica. Put your thinking hats on about that. See if you can guess who it is. Okay, I'll leave that one with you. But all will be revealed by Tuesday. You will see the name, our names, because there's more. There's wonderful guests next week. Okay, here we go, guys. Good night. God bless everybody. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. Mind yourselves.
In another place and time, when we went with the flow, no fear, no fall, no cry, spirits lost in time. On a sweet September night, there was me and you and Joe. Oh, we were running wild, tearing down the marquees and the lights, ripping up the audience fight. There's something about that night that made me scream inside. The dream, it fell apart. We never said goodbye. There's something about that sky made me question why that Joey had to fly. Now the fools and the renegades, they followed us through town. A tsunami of disgrace, the blind leading the blind. When we were young and high, with something about that night made me scream inside. The dream, it fell apart. We never said goodbye. Something about that sky that made me question why. Whoa, something about that night made me scream inside. The dream, it fell apart. We never said goodbye. Was something about that sky that made me question why. Joey had to fly. I see you there, I see you there, yeah, yeah. I see you there. I see you there, yeah, 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 yeah.